The blizzard was so thick it erased everything, roads, signs, even sound. But through the whiteness, Alexander Reed, the youngest CEO in the city, saw something that made his foot slam the brakes harder than he meant to. A tiny figure, sitting alone on the frozen sidewalk, unmoving. When he stepped out, the wind nearly knocked him to the ground, yet he kept going until he reached her. A little girl, no older than 6, shivering, blue-lipped, clutching a torn backpack. And when she looked up into his eyes, her voice cracked into a whispered plea he would never forget. Mom said, "You're the only one who can help us." Before we begin this emotional journey, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories, so you never miss powerful moments like this. Snow ripped across the street like shards of glass, stinging Alexander's face as he knelt in front of the trembling little girl. She was covered in frost, her boots soaked through, her tiny hands gripping the straps of a backpack so tightly her knuckles had turned white. "You're freezing," Alexander said, removing his coat and wrapping it around her. She tried to speak, but her teeth were chattering too violently for words. He picked her up carefully and rushed her to his car, blasting the heat. After a few minutes, she finally exhaled a shaky breath. "What's your name?" he asked gently. Lily," she whispered. Her voice was thin, fragile, like a candle flame in a storm. Alexander gave her warm water and waited until her fingers stopped trembling before asking, "Where is your mother?" Lily looked down, clutching her backpack tighter. She told me to find you," she said. "She said you're the only one who can help us. She said, you're a good man." Alexander frowned deeply. He had no idea who this child was. No idea how her mother knew him. No idea why she was out here alone in a life-threatening blizzard. "Do you know where she is?" he asked softly. Lily nodded weakly. "She didn't come back. She told me to stay with her, but she fell asleep and she wouldn't wake up. I tried to shake her. I tried to shout, but she wouldn't." Her voice broke into sobs. Alexander's heart clenched. He pulled her close, letting her cry into his chest as the wind roared outside. When she calmed, she told him the rest. "We were living in a small shed behind a big house. It was warm there until the storm broke the roof. Mommy said we had to go. She carried me through the snow, but she got very tired. She said she'd rest for a minute and then told me to run and find you." Alexander was more confused than ever. "Lily, how did she know me?" The little girl hesitated, then slowly unzipped her backpack. Inside was a stack of papers, old photographs, and a letter with his name on it. When Alexander opened it, the breath left his lungs. The handwriting was familiar, achingly familiar. It belonged to a woman he once loved deeply, years before his rise to fortune. Her name was Mia. They had lost contact after a painful breakup caused by misunderstandings and family issues. He had searched for her, regretted letting her go, even hired people to find her, but she had vanished. Now he stared at a letter written in her trembling handwriting. "If you're reading this, Alex, I need your help. I didn't want to disturb your new life, but I'm out of options. Lily is yours." Alexander felt as if the ground beneath him cracked open. Lily watched him, her big eyes filled with fear. "Mommy said you're my dad," she whispered. "Are you?" Alexander swallowed hard, feeling his pulse pound in his ears. Outside, the blizzard howled like a beast, but inside, everything felt frozen in place. A little girl he never knew existed. A woman he once loved, somewhere in the storm, unconscious, freezing, maybe dying. He grabbed the keys and wrapped Lily in warm blankets. "We're going to find your mother," he said, determination burning through him like fire. "I won't let anything happen to her. I promise." Alexander drove through the blizzard with a focus so sharp it felt like time slowed around him. Lily sat beside him, bundled in blankets, pointing weakly every time she recognized something through the swirling white. The storm was relentless, pushing against the car, shaking it, blinding him. But he didn't stop, not when his heart was pounding with fear, not when every passing second could be the difference between life and death. "There," Lily said suddenly, pointing toward a cluster of dark shapes barely visible under the snow. The shed was behind that big house. Alexander parked and lifted her into his arms, shielding her from the wind as he trudged forward. The house was abandoned, windows broken, paint peeling, roof half collapsed. Where was she? He asked urgently. Lily pointed toward a small wooden structure, half buried in snow. Alexander ran, boots sinking into the frozen ground. When he reached the shed, he tore the door open, and his breath caught. Mia lay inside, curled on the frozen floor, her body motionless, her hair covered in frost. For a moment, Alexander feared the worst. Mia, he shouted, dropping to his knees. He touched her cheek, ice cold. Her lips were blue, her breath shallow and fading. He lifted her into his arms, cradling her as if holding something sacred. Her head fell against his shoulder. "Stay with me," he whispered fiercely. "You hear me? Don't leave me again." He rushed her to the car, turned the heat to maximum, and wrapped her in every blanket he had. Lily held her mother's hand, tears streaming down her face. "Mommy, please wake up. Mommy, please." When Mia finally stirred, a faint groan, a flutter of eyelids, Alexander felt the crushing weight on his chest lift just slightly. Her eyes opened weakly. "Alex," she whispered. Tears he didn't know he was holding back slipped down his cheeks. "I'm here," he said. "I'm here now. You're safe." She tried to apologize, but he hushed her gently. "Save your strength." At the hospital, doctors took her in immediately. Hours passed. Lily fell asleep in his lap, exhausted from fear and cold. Alexander held her close, staring at the door, praying silently. When the doctor finally emerged, he said the words Alexander desperately needed to hear. "She's stable. She's going to make it." Relief flooded him so intensely that he felt his knees weaken. Later, when Mia awoke, her voice cracked as she explained everything. How she tried to raise Lily alone, how she hid from those who hurt her, how she never wanted to burden him, how she kept his letter tucked against her heart. Alexander listened, then gently wiped her tears. "You should have come to me," he said softly. "I never stopped caring." She squeezed his hand. "I was scared, but when the storm hit, I knew you were the only one who'd help us." He looked at Lily sleeping beside her mother and felt something inside him shift, a new purpose, a new promise. "You're not alone anymore," he said. "Neither of you." And as the blizzard finally calmed and the first rays of dawn touched the hospital window, Alexander realized that sometimes life brings back what you lost, not to hurt you, but to heal you. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories for more emotional and inspiring content.